Hello everyone! Welcome back to the final episode of Red String of Fate. The final episode. We're going to be exploring both endings with Luke, see what he has to say about all this, and we'll finally be done with his route. But until then, let us carry on and find out what becomes of everybody. I try to stifle a yawn, drumming my fingers against the table, my mind whirling. Thank God today is a slow day at the library, so I can spend my shift thinking about what to do for my end of semester assignment instead. Propping my head up with one hand, I go through my list of possible interview candidates in my mind once again, still feeling dissatisfied. No, I need to find someone better, someone who can actually have a shot at getting an interview with, and someone with enough of a wow factor that would give me good grades. Someone less boring than the editor of a school newspaper. Ugh! I scowl in frustration, wishing I had more connections in the journalism world. And what's the matter, Val? Who upset you? At Luke's voice, I lift my head with a warm smile. Hey Luke, what are you doing here? You need to check out some books? Not today. I was just passing by and I remembered this is your shift, so I figured I'd pop in to see how you were doing. Clearly, I was right to come since you look like you're about to tear your hair out. I am. Go stand up for your best friend and tell Professor Hodge that this end of semester assignment is the worst. Luke leans against the table, an amused glint in his eyes. What is his assignment? I'm supposed to find someone worthy to interview and then make a video presentation, as well as a report on the topic of my choice. Luke pulls a sympathetic face, his fingers playing with a straight thread in his sweater. Sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, but the worst part is I don't know who I'm supposed to interview. It's not like I can just choose any random person on the street to interview, but I don't have any connections with important people in the journalism field to ask for an interview either. I let out a growl, my hand flying to my hair and tugging in frustration. Luke's hand lands on mine, stilling it. Don't. You'll hurt yourself. Somehow my anger wanes when faced with his gentle, concerned smile, and I let my hands fall to my side with a sigh. Sorry, I'm just really stressed about finals next week and the assignment that I have yet to finish. Luke tilts his head, a thoughtful look on his face. About the assignment, I think I may be able to help. My gaze starts to his, stunned. You can? I plead with him with hopeful eyes, and Luke chuckles, running his hand through his hair. I probably could. My grandfather was friends with a few journalists and newspaper editors. Right, his grandfather was rich, wasn't he? I'm sure Luke must have had some family connections. Hey, look, buddy, baby, good old pal, bro. How about helping us a little bit? He's usually so down to earth and frugal that I keep forgetting that he's actually from a rich and powerful family. Though I don't really know for sure, he still doesn't talk about his family very much. At that thought, I can't help but frown. Irked as always by Luke's secretive and tendency to keep personal things to himself. I'm thinking of maybe Christopher Hansen? My mouth pops open. I can only stare at him in silent disbelief as he continues. He used to be one of my father's best friends, I believe. He still keeps in contact with me every now and then, so I could probably ask him for an interview if you like. I'm not sure how soon he can fit us into his schedule, though, so it might leave you with a little time to finish your assignment. If you'd rather talk to someone else, I can try to think of another person. Are you kidding me? Christopher Henson? The editor of the top-selling newspaper in the country, The Times? Luke chuckles, his eyes sparkling with amusement at my reaction. Volume, Valerie. How am I supposed to stay quiet after you casually told me Christopher Henson is your family friend? I take that as a yes, and you'd like to meet him for the interview. Of course it's a yes! I take a deep breath, trying to calm myself. In that case, I'll email him tonight and let you know the time and date when he replies. You promise? Of course. Overjoyed, I throw myself at him, wrapping my arms around him in a hug. Yeah! And there's sparkle stuff in her hair! Yeah! Thank you! Thank you! Oh my god, I can't believe I'm going to get to interview Christopher Henson, the youngest ever editor of the biggest newspaper of America! Do you know he's been my idol for years? This is amazing! You're a lifesaver, Luke! It takes a minute before I realize Luke has gone still in my arms without a word. Luke? I lift my head to look at him and freeze in shock. I hadn't expected his face to be so close to mine. So close I can feel his breath against my lips. A strangled sound escapes my throat, both of us still frozen. The color rushes into his cheeks and his lower lip disappears between his teeth. I can feel the warmth rising to my cheeks as well. There's an odd fluttering feeling in my stomach, and I feel a shorter breath, as though I had just finished running a marathon. Less than a second has passed, but it feels almost like an eternity as we continue to staring into each other's eyes. Slowly, Luke's hands shift until they rest on my waist. Wow, I'm watching those pretty badly. His touch burns me even through my clothes until I'm sure it will leave an imprint of his hand on my skin forever. His eyes flicker to my mouth for the briefest of moments, and I realize with a start that I've seen this gesture happen in romantic comedies 100 times before. Luke wants to kiss me. I only have a split second to decide what to do, even though a part of me knows that regardless of my choice, the line has been crossed that can never be undone. What should I do? You better believe I'm gonna kiss that boy. Come here! I'm sure there are a million reasons why I should not let this kiss happen, but the fact that he's my best friend and I'm waiting for my soulmate at the top of the list. Yet somehow, his intoxicating dark eyes make me forget all the rational reasons in this moment. And I can only stay still, waiting, anticipating for him to close the gap between our lips. My eyes flutter shut, and almost immediately, Luke sucks in a deep breath loudly, wrenching himself away from me. My eyes fly open, and I look up at him in confusion. What? Luke's rubbing his neck with one hand, his cheeks a fiery red that matches mine, unable to meet my eyes. You're welcome. It takes a moment before I can remember what I was thanking him for, and when I return my senses, I take a step backwards, feeling both mortified and bewildered. Right. Thank you again. Let me know... Wrong voice. Let me know when you have the good news. I need to go sort some library books on the shelves before my boss yells at me for slacking off at work. I'll see you later. I practically trip over my own 2 feet in my haste to make my escape, and I don't dare breathe until I turn a corner, hiding behind some bookshelves. Panting to catch my breath, I close my eyes, leaning my head against the shelf. What in the world just happened? I'll say. Looking around to make sure everyone is too busy to pay attention to me, I sneak around the corner, leaning against the wall to catch my breath. The world continues to spin around me, making me feel off balance even as I'm standing still. The feeling of nausea almost overwhelms me for a moment, but I close my eyes, attempting to swallow it down. Luke's concerning warning for months go about working myself flashes across my mind, and I frown, pushing it away. Damn it, I don't want to think about him right now. Especially not about how he was right when he said I'd end up making myself sick with exhaustion. Hang in there, Val. Just 2 more hours until you go back to your room to rest. Val! Val, where are you? We need you at table 5. Taking a deep breath, I wipe the sweat from my forehead and prepare myself to go out and continue serving customers. Coming! Alright, you can do this, Val. Just don't faint or throw up on anyone. I'll be terrible. You can do this. Faking a warm smile on my face, I stumble towards table 5 to take their orders. In my dizzy state and in my blurry eyesight, I fail to recognize the person sitting at the table until it's too late to escape. Val? Luke! Panic bubbles up inside me, and immediately, the memory of being in his arms, his face a hair away from mine, resurfaces in my mind. Oh God, I'm not ready to face him yet. He notes the rising panic in my expression and reaches out to grab my arm. Oh, no, you don't. Don't think you're about running away. You've avoided me long enough. I'm not avoiding you. I give him a weak smile, which he doesn't return, and he continues staring at me suspiciously. I'm sure you aren't. Look, I just want to talk to you, Val. Luke releases my arm, his hand reaching up to run his fingers through his hair in frustration, and I take the opportunity to turn tail and run. Val, wait! Ignoring his shout, I sprint towards the kitchen as fast as possible, weaving around my baffled coworkers. Unfortunately, I had forgotten one very important thing, my dizziness and pounding headache. My pace slows to a crawl as the world begins to spinning once again. I'm reminded of the unpleasant feeling I got when I was 6 and got on the spinning teacup right at the amusement park right after a heavy lunch. Val? His voice is much closer now, but I'm beyond hearing at this point. Reaching out to grab something, anything for balance, I only find thin air. Val! This time Luke's alarmed yell is right next to me, and I can feel a warm hand landing on my shoulder. Too late. Before I could say a word, the world melts into darkness. Damn. So finally all those extra jobs in college exhausted us. Yeah, viewer, I get money is important and stuff, but my god, don't exhaust yourself like this. This is too crazy. Ugh. I groan, clutching at my forehead. My head feels like it's about to split open, and my entire body is weighed down with fatigue, making me unable to move. Val, you're awake. Are you alright? Feeling better? A hand slips into mine, giving it a light squeeze. Mm-hmm. Too tired to open my mouth, I can only make a non-committal hum. Luke's thumb starts to rub gentle circles on the back of my hand, and I shiver from the pleasant sensations. Thanks to the comforting warmth of his hand that successfully distracts me from the pain in my head, it takes me a minute before I remember that I've been avoiding him for the last week, after what happened between us in the library. Gah! I merely pull my hand away, jerking upwards into a sitting position. The sudden motion makes my head spin, and I groan again, closing my eyes for a second. Val, just lie there and rest for a bit. Don't move yet. You fainted at the restaurant a few hours ago. You need to rest. Why are you here? I can see the flicker of hurt in Luke's eyes, and he turns away, his expression closing off. I can almost see a wall slamming down between us. I carried you to your room after you fainted. I was worried, so I stayed to make sure you're fine. Now that you've woken up, I'll just take my leave. I apologize for staying my welcome. Luke gets up stiffly from the chair beside my bed, walking towards the door. My chest feels tight with guilt, and I had no choice but to call out. Wait! Luke pauses, but doesn't turn around, his back still facing me. Thank you. You're welcome. I thought he'd leave, but instead his hand rests on the doorknob, and he twists his body so slightly so he can look at me at the corner of his eye. You should have listened to what I said. Stop working yourself so hard. Next time, I might not be there to catch you when you faint. You cut? I shook my head, cutting myself off. No, that's not the main point. I can take care of myself. No, clearly you cannot. I flinched at the harshness of his sharp tone. I've forgotten what the hostile Luke from when we first met is like. He seems to notice my reaction, and he softens, sighing. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have snapped at you. I'm just worried about you. You need to stop overworking yourself for nothing. You're going to ruin your own health. Anger flares up inside me, and I cross my arms, glaring at him. I've told you, it's not for nothing. Luke finally releases the doorknob and turns to face me fully. His brows were furrowed, and he has a scowl on his face. Yes, it is. Stop being so naive. You're not going to find your soulmate because you don't have one. You're going to kill yourself with exhaustion over a dream that was hopeless since the very start. I can't hold back my outraged gasp, and I struggle to my feet, brushing away the hand he reaches out to help me with my balance. What did you say? Luke opens his mouth, likely to retort, but surprisingly, he closes his mouth without a word and simply glares at the wall next to me, sullen. Nothing. No, I heard you. If you think I'm stupid for believing that I have a soulmate waiting for me out there somewhere, well... My mind's still slow from exhaustion and sickness. I fumble for a comeback. Failing, I blurt out the first thing in my mouth and immediately cringe. Well, why did you just almost kiss me last week at the library then? What? I'm sure the stunned expression in his face matches mine. What in the world did I just say? I can feel my cheeks burning, but I force myself to keep my chin up, holding my head up high. You say you don't believe in love, right? You think I'm stupid for believing in soulmates and true love still, right? Well, you're one to talk, considering you almost kissed me the other day. So much for not believing in romantic love anymore. I never met Luke speechless like that before, spluttering at the color mounts in his cheek. I can't help but enjoy my small victory. It was just an almost kiss. Doesn't mean anything that I'm suddenly in love with you or anything. People often kiss without it meaning anything, you know. Luke's loud declaration hangs in the air between us for what seems like forever before it finally sinks in. My stomach gives a painful twist and a gasp, rendering speechless. Immediately, I can see the great regret settling in Luke's expression, and he reaches out towards me, but I sidestep his hand. Wait, Val, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to come out that way. I didn't mean it. Did you not? To my surprise, I somehow managed to keep my composure, and my voice comes out cold, causing Luke to flinch away. No, yes, I mean, I don't know. It depends. On what? You either mean it or you don't. Do you want me to mean it that way? Is he asking what I think he's asking? Luke stares at me with wide, dark eyes filled with regret and uncertainty. Strangely, his expression reminds me of a wounded child, fragile, desperate, confused. I know what he's asking, but surely I can't. Our strings don't lead to each other. Hell, he doesn't even believe we have strings at all. Surely I can't be with him. He's not the one I'm meant to be with. Right? I can no longer hold his gaze and I avert my eyes, setting the posters on my wall. I don't know. Luke's gaze falls to the ground, and for a long moment, he stays rooted to the ground, silent. His hands curl into fists by his sides, and he gives a curt nod. Right. I understand. I'm honestly sorry for hurting you with what I said, both earlier about your soulmate and just now. The last thing I want to do is hurt you. I'm sorry. Please do try and rest. You need it. I hope you feel better soon. I'll see you around. He strides to my door, pulling it open with one swift motion. He seems to hesitate as he steps out the door, but before I can reach out to stop him, he's gone, hurrying down the corridor and out of my sight, leaving me to brush away the tears that slowly start to cascade down my cheeks. I cradle the phone in the crook of my neck, chuckling to myself as I fold another pair of pants to place into my suitcase. Yes, Erin, I've checked my room 4 times. I didn't find the disc you are looking for. Honestly, why would it be in my room in the first place? Erin's flustered voice comes over the phone, and I can almost picture him pounding on the other end. I don't know. I thought it might have slipped out of my backpack when I dropped by your dorm room the other day. I guess not. Thanks anyway. Well, I hope you find it soon. I hope so too. It's gonna be a boring winter break if I don't have my favorite game with me. He lets out a despondent sigh, and I can't help but chuckle again. So you're heading home for the holidays? Yeah, just finishing up my packing. Should be done soon. What? Erin doesn't speak for a moment, and when he continues, his voice is softer than usual, somewhat hesitant. Had you heard from Luke since, My smile fades at the mention of Luke, and I bite my lip. The memory of his slumped back as he walks away from me is still vivid in my mind. No. As I expected, I guess. You did break his heart, after all. I didn't break his heart. He's not romantically in love with me, remember? Yes, he is. God, Valerie, you're either blind or just in denial. I don't bother to respond, knowing full well which one is the correct answer. Did you at least say bye to him before you leave for the holidays? No. Val! That's not very nice. We haven't talked in 2 weeks, Erin. I'm not going to suddenly text him just to tell him I'm heading to my grandparents' place for the holidays. Didn't she just say her grandparents are dead earlier? That she lost them? Or was she referring to one pair of parents and grandparents and she's going to the other one? Huh. Whatever. He wouldn't really care anyway. It's not like we hang out anymore. Val! His uncharacteristic disapproving tone breaks a weak smile to my face as I mimic him. Erin! I really think you should... A loud, rapid knock comes from my door, drowning out Erin's words. I turn to the door, frowning. Who is it? Hang on, Erin. Someone's at my door. I'll call you back later, okay? Bye! Ending the call, I summon to the door and pull it open. What is it? Oh. Luke is standing in front of me, his fist still raised in the air from knocking on my door. My heart leaps at the sight of him, but I quickly squash the emotions, clearing my throat. Oh, Luke, it's you. Good afternoon, Valerie. Luke shoves his hands into his pocket, his voice coming out stilted. He's clearly uncomfortable as I avoid his eyes. I realize I feel just as awkward after everything that has happened. What are you doing here? Did you leave something here like Aaron did? No. Not exactly. Takes a deep breath but doesn't speak. I lack the courage to ask, so I stay silent, waiting for him to continue. May I come in? Of course. I take a few steps back to let him enter my room. He sweeps his gaze around my room, noting the open suitcases and clothes strewn all over my bed. Aaron told me you'll be leaving for the holidays today. I frown, making a mental note to berate Aaron for being a meddlesome idiot as always. But he's Cupid. He's supposed to be a meddlesome idiot. Of course he did. Well, it's not really a big deal. It's just a month of holidays. But I didn't want you to leave without us fixing whatever's between us first. I pretend to be unaffected by his words, but my heart rate has doubled and my breathing has become shallow. What do you mean? He exhales loudly, his hand rubbing the back of his neck. After a long pause, clearly filled with internal struggle, Luke blurts out 3 words that make me freeze in place. I love you. I'm in love with you. You're right. Turns out I do believe in romantic love after all. I'm still too stunned to move, and I can hardly breathe as Luke grabs both my hands tightly in his hands, stepping closer to me. And there's more glitter in the background! Aw, pretty glitter. So nice. I know that you believe that you have a soulmate waiting for you at the other end of this invisible red string tied to your little finger. I know that you have plans to travel around the world until you find him. I know that you've told yourself you won't fall in love until you find your true love. I know that I'm not your soulmate, if you do have one. I know all of that. But still, I fell in love with you. You made me believe that whether I have a soulmate or not, I can still find love and be loved in return. You made me realize that just because I don't have a red string of fate like everyone else, doesn't mean I can't fall in love and be happy for as long as it lasts. You made me fall in love and... He breaks off, closing his eyes and taking a deep breath. I can only silently stare at him, still unable to speak. Would you please give me a chance to make you happy? I can make you happy, even though we aren't technically soulmates according to the red strings of fate. And if you aren't happy, and you still want to travel around the world to find your soulmate in 4 years when you graduate, I'll let you go. I promise I will. I love you, and I'll do anything to make you happy, even if it means letting you go when the time comes. So, will you let me try and make you happy? I don't think I have breathed at all since Luke began his heartfelt declaration of love. It was only when I began to feel lightheaded that I sucked in a deep breath, blinking rapidly at him in confusion, trying to make sense of what was happening. Did he just... Luke chuckles, but it comes out slightly strangled and very much nervous. I'm sorry. I know this is very sudden. I can only manage to nod, still trying to find my voice and wrap my mind around what just happened. Luke is in love with me. My best friend, Luke, is in love with me, and he just basically asked me to be his girlfriend. I should feel thrown. I am indeed, shocked beyond belief, but at the same time, I'm strangely calm on the inside. I realize deep down that I've been expecting this. And the scariest thing is, it feels right as though I've been waiting for my whole life for this. How could that be? I lower my gaze, searching as always for the red thread that should be tied around my finger. But as expected, it's not there. What about my soulmate? My red string of fate? My plans? Luke squeezes my hands and I lose my train of thought. All of a sudden, I remember the countless happy couples I've seen, who seem to be happily in love and perfectly content being with each other, despite their broken strings, despite their red strings that don't lead to each other. Finally, I understand why they can still smile as though the other person in their arms is holding an entire night sky in their palms as an offering. Luke peers at me, a hopeful glimpse creeping into his dark eyes. Okay. The word falls from my mouth, effortlessly, almost naturally. Luke's face completely lights up, transforming his anxious frown into a breathtaking smile. Really? Yes. I've been trying to fight it, but I think I fell in love with you too, Luke. Luke's eyes widen, his smile growing impossibly wider, but to my surprise, he hesitates and questions. What about your possible soulmate? You're right. I spent my whole life chasing for the ideal, perfect partner who may not exist. I've closed my heart off, turned down countless opportunities, and never gave anyone else a chance. I thought I couldn't truly be happy until I found my soulmate, and that perfect true love I wanted so badly, but... I dug my head, smiling shyly at him. Maybe you can prove me wrong. There's a beat of silence, but then the doubt finally clears from Luke's eyes, and he pulls me into a tight hug. Thank you. I promise I will. I promise I'll make you happier than you've ever been. I know you will. I tilt my head upwards to look at him, just as he tips his head down. This time he doesn't hesitate, and he leans in, pressing his lips gently against mine. The kiss is loving, sweet, tender, everything I've been waiting for and dreamed of, and more. Despite the fact that my first kiss is with the last person I had expected, it was perfect. Aww. So nice. And you know you did everything right when you get this ending, or this image. Have you been unpacking all morning, Val? Luke's arms slip around me from behind, and I lean back against him, greedily indulging in his warmth. Yeah, I want to get us settled in as quickly as possible. I'm sorry for leaving you to handle all this work by yourself this morning. It's alright, you're gonna miss that meeting with your agent. I tilt my head upwards, trying to catch his eye. How did it go, by the way? As expected, nothing new, really. I said I'll have to have the finished manuscript on our desk by the end of the month. Less than a month? Are you sure you'll be able to finish it on time? I should. What about you? Is your boss really fine with you taking a week off for moving? He wasn't happy, but he'll get over the disappointment. I give a cheeky wink, puffing my cheeks out in a mocking pride. What else can he do about it, anyway? We all know I'm his best journalist. Luke laughs, his arms tightening around me. Of course, he's lucky to have you. His voice lowers, becoming an intimate whisper in my ear. I am a lucky man to have you by my side as well. I try to stifle a grin, a blush rising to my cheeks. It's unreal how he can still turn me into a giggly, blushing, lovesick schoolgirl with just a few whispered words, even after 6 years of being together. Don't you have writing to do instead of flirting with your fiancé, Mr. Casanova? He gives a low chuckle, shaking his head. Not right now. He knows what's up. Right now, it's time for me to fulfill my duty as a fiancé and help my future wife unpack our belongings and settle into our new home. Yeah, unpack those belongings. Ha ha ha. I think I'm trying too hard. Get at it. I'm gonna move myself. Bye! Anyway. A giggle escapes me as my eyes flutter half shut, snuggling closer to him in contentment. Yes, you better. I'm your fiancé, not your slave. Your wish is my command, madame. Anything to make you happy. You always make me happy. His hand is on my shoulder. Luke slowly turns me around to face him. I look up at him, an uncontrollable smile spreading across my face as he slowly leans in close, whispering before pressing his mouth against mine. And I'll keep trying every day to make sure... Oh, he's talking! And I'll keep trying every day to make sure that never changes. Aww, that was cute. And we're gonna skip the credits because there's nothing in the credits. So, I'll be back to show off the not so great ending. Again, it's considered a bad ending, but I don't think it's that bad. It's like a not that good ending, but it's not bad. I'll see you in a second. You'll understand why. And here we are once more with this beautiful sea landscape, whatever, pond, whatever this area was. The one that starts it all. What is up with my voice today? I have no idea. Pardon me. But yes, let's go through the list. Yes, of course, it is an important part of us. And here we are with the second option, saying no. And with Grandma talking, we're going to ask her, did she ever get married herself? And surprisingly, for the last one, you let him kiss you. You don't ever choose pull away. You always let him kiss you. And with that, you get the final ending. Alrighty, so here we are with the final ending. I'm going to be reading a little bit before we read the final ending because the dialogue right here is actually pretty different compared to the rest of it. Or at least it builds up to that ending, so I thought it would be more appropriate to reread some of the stuff and read a little bit of new dialogue and what transpires for that. So, here we go. So here he is confessing his love, and he promises to make us happy. What do we say? Will you let him try and make you happy? I open my mouth, but no words come out. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what just happened. Luke is in love with me. My best friend Luke is in love with me, and he just basically asked me to be his girlfriend. How the hell am I supposed to reply? Surely it has to be a no. Yeah, already it's vastly different. For 1 second, just one brief second, I'm tempted to lean into his touch and let him make good on his promise. As much as I want to deny it, a part of my heart wants it. Wants him. I like his caring personality, his thoughtful kindness, his quiet confidence, his quick wit, his immense talent, even his occasional grumpiness and snappiness. I know that if I were to say yes, Luke would spend his life doing his best to bring me happiness, because that's just the kind of person he is. It would be so easy to let him love me. But I can't. My gaze falls to my finger where my red string of fate should have been. I can't. Not when there's still a tiny bit of hope that my soulmate is out there, waiting for me. I just can't give up. Luke. He closes his eyes, his hands slacking in their grasp on mine, as though he could tell what my answer is just from my whisper of his name. No, you don't have to say it. He exhales through his nose sharply, his head hanging in defeat. I knew what your answer would be. I just thought it was worth a shot. I'm sorry. I had to try or else I'd always regret it. His apparent sorrow tugs at my heartstrings, and I reach out, brushing the back of my hand against his cheek. I'm sorry, Luke. You deserve love more than anyone else I know. You deserve everything you want in this world. Luke's face crumbles, and his careful composure giving away for a moment, before he forces a small smile, laced with bitterness and sadness. You have to say that. You just broke my heart. My chest tightens further at his weak attempt at a joke, and as though sensing my loss of words to make this better, Luke draws me into a hug. No, don't worry about me, Val. I'll be alright. I rest my chin on his shoulder, squeezing my eyes shut as I feel the tears burning inside my eyelids. I'm sorry. I really am. I know. We're still friends, right? There's a beat of silence, and my hand on his shirt tightens. The fabric crunches in my fist. Of course, the best of friends. He lingers for a moment longer before he pulls away, flashing me another tiny smile. In that case, I won't keep you from your packing anymore. Have a safe trip, Val. Text me sometime, okay? I can only nod quietly, watching as Luke walks out of the door and once again walks away from me, leaving me staring after his retreating back until it disappears into the far distance. Val, wait! Ooh, I'm getting a sense of The Bodyguard right here. Is the music of I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston going to play? The familiar voice makes me freeze for a moment before my head turns, my face already relaxing into a relieved smile. Luke, I thought you were going to come. I didn't want to leave without saying goodbye. Luke runs his fingers through his hair, giving me a sheepish smile. Sorry I'm late. I lost track of time packing. Packing? My gaze lowers and I finally notice 2 black suitcases sitting on the ground by his feet. I frown in confusion, returning my gaze to him. There's a nervous smile playing on his lips and he can't quite meet my eyes. Luke, where are you? Are you going somewhere? You didn't mention any vacation to me. He coughs, rubbing the back of his neck. Yes, well, it was a spontaneous trip. My eyes narrow in suspicion. I cross my arms, tapping my foot. Look, what is it? Spit it out. Well, He shrugged, spreading his arms out in front of me helplessly. You know how worried I've been about you going on this trip around the world alone. Who knows what could happen to you? You could get robbed, or kidnapped, or murdered, or... Rolling my eyes, I try to stifle my smile at his overprotectiveness and concern. Yes, I know. We've gone over this already. At least 100 times. I'm going to be fine, Luke. Now stop beating around the bush and just get to the point. Well, My eyes narrow further at his unusual nervousness, and I watch him fidget with his sleeve as my suspicion grows. Luke? I might have booked a ticket for the same plane as you so I can go on this trip with you. It takes a moment for his words to sink in, and he gulps up when I let out a gasp. Luke! You're serious? You weren't pulling my leg! He digs his passport out from his pocket, a slip of white paper sticking out from between the pages. He waves it in front of my face, shrugging. Yes, I'm absolutely serious. There's a beat of silence as I try to take this in. Luke watches me process this new turn of events with a nervous expression, his hands sliding into his pockets. Are you mad? I'm sorry, I know I shouldn't barge into your trip uninvited. I know you're trying to find your soulmate, and you probably don't want me to come along. I promise I won't get in the way. I'm just worried about you, that's all. If you want me to go back home, just say the word. I'll leave the airport right now, and I promise I won't hop on the next flight to go right after you or anything. Luke's nervous rambling brings a smirk to my face, and the grin I've been trying to resist finally spreads across my face. Luke? Shut up. Taking advantage of his shock, I wrap my arms around his neck and pull him in for a hug. His arms immediately slide around me, one hand resting on my back. My voice comes out muffled, as my face is pressed against his shoulder, just as well, as I suspect that my voice would sound obviously teary and wobbly otherwise, judging by the tears welling up in my eyes. You're crazy, but I'm glad you are. Of course I want you to come along. You're my best friend. Are you sure? You don't think it's too awkward for me to come along with this soulmate searching trip? Why would it be? Who knows, maybe we'll find your soulmate too. Maybe. I won't hold my breath though. Luke's right response elicits a laugh from me, and I poke his back with a finger. One day, I'll make a believer out of you. I guess this trip will be a good start. Come on, let's go. We're going to be late for our flight. I can hear the grin in his voice when he replies. Yes, ma'am. Your wish is my command. Oh, so that was nice. And one of the endings, of course they end up together, because... Come on. Well, it was too obvious not to. But the other one, like I said, it's not a bad ending, or at least I don't really consider it a bad ending. Or at least, I guess in the look sense it is a bad ending, but it's still like an optimistic and hopeful one. And a pretty enjoyable one at that. Like, she's like still trying to find her soulmate, and, you know, maybe a long run she can also help him find his soulmate too, which is also really nice. But that has been the Red String of Fate, Luke's route. We shall be doing Aaron's. Aaron's route is actually very different compared to Luke's. I do normally enjoy Luke's route more, but Aaron is not too bad. And it's also kind of an interesting concept of his Red String of Fate being broken and stuff, and that kind of raises the dilemma of that. But for now, this has been Red String of Fate. I am Terra the Fox. You are the viewer, and I hope to see you next time.